Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson here. Coming up this week in the Buffalo Stampede, we're talking a lot of basketball. How about that CU women's basketball team? Number 7 of the country. All they do is win. And Frida Foreman, by the way, joins the 1,000-point club. The CU men lose on the road against CSU up in Fort Collins. We're going to recap that one with my broadcast partner, Scott Wilkie, and get a lopsided win over Pepperdine. We'll talk with assistant coach Bill Greer and point guard KJ Simpson. All this week in the Buffalo Stampede.
Wants to work here, spin inside, fade away off the glass for 2. 4 on the shot clock, and Frida just picked the pocket of Erickson. Now dribble down in, little head fake, goes for the layup, got it. Eddie on the blocks, wants to work inside, kicks it back out. Frida for a 3, yeah!
Your number 7 Colorado women's basketball team with another victory. They win it by 30 over Boston University. Hi, everybody. Voice of the Buffs. Mark Johnson back in the Buffalo Stampede. Highlight of that ball game, Frida Foreman, great Colorado Buffalo, becomes the 34th Buff in women's basketball history to go over 1,000 points. Game was actually pretty close to the first 3 quarters, but then the final flame rolled around, and the Buffs dominated, plus 26 in the 4th quarter, and end up walking away. And afterward, we heard from head coach J.R. Payne and the 1,000-point scorer. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Celebrate responsibly.
We have such a rich tradition of success in our women's basketball program, and so it really is truly an honor, I think, to have players in our program now that have had enough success individually and collectively to be able to pass people like that. I love the relationships that our alums have with our current players. Like Shelly will be the first one to celebrate Jalen passing her record. Kate Fagan will be the first one, to reach out to Frida to celebrate that. And I think that's really, really special. So congrats to those guys on that. Glad we had a 4th quarter. That's what my mom just said to me. Yeah, just stagnant, kind of passive in the first 3 quarters of the game. Got to be able to figure it out, and we did. So proud of them for that.
Yeah, it feels really great. I think it's something that I obviously dream of scoring a lot of points and contributing to the program. So I'm really happy that I got to do that, especially here at CU. It means a lot to me to have been here for these 3 and 4th year and do that.
So the Buffs get the victory over Boston University. Then a few days later, they're down in Colorado Springs, get a 16-point win. Frida Foreman again in the middle of everything for Colorado. She had 23 points, including 5 3-pointers. And by the way, she moved into 5th all-time in the career scoring list at the University of Colorado. The Buffaloes were able to play 14 players in the day, getting key contributions from Sarah Rose Smith off the bench. The senior transfer had 11 points, 8 rebounds in her 17 minutes. Kendall Wetta also effective off the pine with 8.6 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 assists. Redshirt freshman Shalomi Sanders checked in for the Buffs for the first time this season, hitting a late 3-pointer for her first career points as a Colorado player. The Buffaloes out-rebounded the Falcons by 19, 40-30, and Quay Miller snagged a team-high 9 boards. Colorado had 15 offensive rebounds, scoring 11 second-chance points and totaling 40 points in the paint. And finally, the 7th-rated Buffaloes return home here to Boulder to take on UT Arlington. That's an early one at Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. Every year, the team holds a field trip day of sorts for area kids to come experience Colorado basketball with games and a chance to meet the athletes. The concourse was packed with youngsters prior to tip-off, and eventually they made their way out to the seats to watch the Buffs take care of the Mavericks. And afterwards, we heard from head coach J.R. Payne.
For me, it's not necessarily about having just lots of people in the building, but it's an opportunity for the young people of our community to come and see how awesome these guys are, how cool college is, how cool college athletics is. And so, there was probably at least 1,000 young kids today that came and got to witness what is so special about college athletics. So really excited that we were able to do that. And yeah, just a lot of great things and a lot of areas to continue to work on. Throughout the season, you're trying to get better. Every day you're trying to be better. As coaches, we're kind of wired to look at the weaknesses or look at the areas that we can improve. But I'm also, smart enough to be able to celebrate the really great things that we did as well. So proud of lots of things in the stat sheet and excited for some opportunity to focus on ourselves in the next couple of weeks.
So after taking care of the Mavericks, the CU women have got some time off. In fact, they're not back in action until December 21st when Northern Colorado comes to the event center. And then after that, the Buffs will open up Pac-12 conference play on December 30th against the Utes of Utah. Coming up next in the Buffalo Stampede, we're going to recap the men's week of basketball. My partner Scott Wilkie will join us after a break. KJ. Doesn't have numbers. That's not going to stop him. To the foul line, he circles through, runs into his own teammate. Kick out left side. Williams for three. Right between the eyes from downtown. He might have traveled, did KJ. To KJ. Fakes. Drives against Lake. Step back. Three ball is on the way. Right between the eyes from downtown. Now KJ Simpson and Cody Williams had some big moments up in Moby Arena in Fort Collins, but the Buffaloes eventually fall 88-83 to the rival Rams. Rams ranked number 20 in the country. Hi, everybody, back in the Buffalo Stampede, along with my broadcast partner, former Buff Scott Wilkie. First off, the atmosphere in that ball game. We knew it was going to be electric, but the way Rams are playing right now, they're playing fantastic basketball, ranked in the top 25. That was as loud a building as we've been in a long time.
Yeah, I don't want to mislead people. I was disappointed in the outcome, but I enjoyed that game, Mark.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was awesome. I knew it was going to be like that, and it did not disappoint.
Yeah. Do you think the Buffaloes handled the early shot of energy well in that ball game?
I don't think they came out ready for that kind of onslaught of noise and energy that the Rams brought to the table, and they really had to pick up their energy in the second half.
Yeah, the Buffaloes really came out, and defense really, when you go back and watch the tape in that ball game, Scott, the result of that game was the result of Colorado not playing well. We can talk about the offense, and we will. Defensively, Colorado was not where they needed to be.
Yeah, I kept thinking about on the drive home about how Coach was saying they got no kills in that whole game.
Yeah.
Usually they look for 3 per half. 3 kills is 3 possessions without the other team scoring. They didn't get one the whole game. That tells you they were not consistent on defense.
Yeah. Now you got to give credit to Colorado State a little bit in that ball game. Listen, Scott and I will speak glowingly about Isaiah Stevens. He's the guy that makes the Rams go, and he really created a lot of problems for Colorado in that game.
On paper, he looked like one of the best in the country, and he was that night as well.
Yeah.
3 possessions in that game. He hit shot clock buzzer beaters, and those were big points in the game. I love how he plays. He allows others to do their thing, but come push to shove, he's the one that steps up.
Now, it's early in the season. We're still here just in the first week of December, but this Colorado basketball team has got to understand and start to perform consistently on the defensive end. What we see at home and what we see on the road are two different things right now for this team.
Yeah, on both ends of the floor. And, you know, jump shots and offense comes and goes on the road. That's always been that way. But you have to bring defense on the road or you're not going to win games.
So the Buffaloes had won 3 in a row against the Rams, but CSU takes this one by 5. And afterward, we heard from head coach Tad Boyle. Powered by Ford. Cars, trucks, and SUVs built for America. Built Ford proud.
Disappointing, Mark, obviously. I mean, I thought we lost this game in the first half. I thought, you know, the second half we fought our tails off and came back. But that first half we were just
Especially those last 7-8 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we turned the ball over. Yep. They had 7 threes at halftime and an 8th where we fouled a 3-point shooter. So that's 24 points from the 3-point line.
Yep.
It's the great equalizer in college basketball. We weren't good enough defensively all night long. Mark, we had 0 kills, and we talk about kills a lot, right? A kill is when you get 3 stops in a row.
At 0.
We want 3 each half. We had 0 for the game, which means we never strung together stops. And so that puts a lot of pressure on your offense, which our offense was good enough in the second half. In the first half, it wasn't because they were the aggressors. We weren't screening. We weren't cutting. We weren't relying on each other. Didn't get the ball moved side to side. We switched, you know, some things offensively in the second half to get the ball moved side to side. We had some success with it, but you turn the ball over 15 times and you don't get stopped, you don't get any kills, you're not going to be anybody good.
Right.
And Colorado State's good.
Yep.
But really disappointing because that was a winnable game, and they're a good team.
Head coach Tad Boyle after the Buffaloes fall by 5 on the road against number 20 CSU. We continue with former Buff Scott Wilkie. Offensively, Colorado never quite got things going. They had to rely upon 2 guys. 30 points, second 30-point game of his career for KJ Simpson, and 21 all in the second half for Cody Williams. It really became just wait for one of those 2 guys to score in the second half of that game.
Yeah, the Buffs really went away from their normal offense and just let those guys kind of attack the basket. And Cody Williams was amazing. Only missed 1 shot, really was aggressive, taking it to the basket. KJ just did his thing late in the game as well.
Yeah, KJ 30 points on 13 field goal attempts. That's unbelievably efficient basketball. We've learned that about KJ. That's not the best offense for Colorado when he's got to do that, but he's capable of doing that.
Yeah, he's always an aggressive offensive player, but sometimes, you know, we use the term getting in the zone.
No.
We see when he does that, he scores in bunches like he did on the other night.
How about Cody Williams? He had 21 points all in the second half. Almost seemed like there must have been something said to him. He's much more aggressive with the ball offensively in the second half. Scott, in the last 3 games, he's averaging 17 per contest. I think there's a little encouragement going on, but it's also part of him getting comfortable playing at this level.
It would have been interesting to be a fly on the wall during that halftime talk from Coach, because I think he lit a fire under him a little bit. Cody came out a little too passive in that game. Second half, he showed his true talent. And when we've seen those moments, Mark, when he really looks to be aggressive, he's an amazing player.
He's got that rare ability at 6'8", almost 6'9", to get his shot whenever he wants it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he handles the ball so well. He's so long and changes direction so fluidly, so easily. Not normal for a 6'9" guy to do that.
Yeah, he was awful impressive with 21 points as the Buffaloes now get ready to take on Pepperdine. That was not the kind of game where Eddie Lampkin was going to be a big part of it. CSU being a smaller team, it kind of took him out of the game, I thought.
And when CSU took out their big man, Pemba, then they really went small, really 4 guards on the floor. So Colorado kind of had to match that quickness out there.
So the Buffaloes end up falling by 5 at rival Colorado State. Next up, it's the Pepperdine Waves. We'll talk about that in a moment. There's the alley-oop, caught above the rim, and a slam by Cody Williams. He gave it to Hammond and then cut down the paint. There's a nice bucket by freshman Cody Williams. One of 4 Buffaloes in double digits. Must get a 25-point win over Pepperdine here at the Event Center. Back in a Stampede. Voice of the bus, Mark Johnson. Point guard KJ Simpson. He was in double digits for the Buffaloes. That was a nice bounce back for you guys after Wednesday, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think our biggest thing is we play fine at home. Yeah. We play fine at home. We play together. And I just think we need to carry that same, intensity on the road. We have guys in multiple double-digit figures, and we share the ball the way we do. It's hard to beat us.
What is that thing that happens home and away? No, I think every team is going to have different numbers home and away because you're comfortable here.
Yeah.
But getting that same intensity to take it on the road, like you're going to have to do this week, right?
Exactly, yeah.
What is that all about, do you think?
I think it's just understanding the game, especially, a lot of times on the road, stuff hasn't gone our way. We miss a couple shots that we're usually making, and then, calls, we might be called against us.
Sure.
And we just have to keep playing. We're focusing on too much of the outside stuff instead of what's important and, just possession by possession basketball.
Because when you do go on the road, especially like last week up in Fort Collins, it's you against the world, isn't it? I mean, you're walking, it's a group of 15 guys, and the whole world is against you, and you're fighting not only the opponent, but also the atmosphere.
Yeah, and that was a big test for us. I mean, Florida State was a neutral site, really, but they had a couple fans there, but Colorado State, that was a real home game. Away game.
Yep.
And, it challenged us, but I think we showed resilience. We fought to the end, and as long as we're able to do that from the start, we'll be fine.
When I talk to Tad, when I talk to Coach Greer, Coach Rowan, they all talk about your maturation as a player. Mm-hmm. You've always been a guy that's, as Tad likes to say, that he always says KJ's wired to score.
Yeah.
But the way you're dishing the ball, you've really, I think, cut down on your turnovers this season. Mm-hmm. You feel like you're in more control out there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was the biggest, thing going into the summer that I wanted to work on. Obviously, efficiency, but, being more than just a scorer. Have great pieces out here on this floor, and Tristan, Cody, Javon, Eddie, Ju, Luke, I can name the whole team. And, getting those guys involved and then getting them going, and then on top of me whenever the chance is for me to score, it's just dangerous to guard that. We have so many options out there.
Yeah, he had 30 points, by the way, last week on Wednesday against a CSU, and had a double-digit game against Pepperdine. And after the win over Pepperdine, we heard from head coach Tad Boyle. Powered by Ford. Cars, trucks, and SUVs built for America. Built Ford proud.
Still some areas we need to keep getting better at. I never want to get satisfied, but I thought, our guys bounced back. I knew they would. One of the things I challenged a couple of our guys, I met with some guys individually after the Colorado State game. Not everybody, but, we had a team a couple years ago that I think didn't lose back-to-back games until late January, maybe February, and we only lost back-to-back games twice that year. So I think this is the kind of team that can be that kind of team in terms of their resolve and learning from the things that we don't do well and taking that into the next game and applying it. So we'll see if that holds true or not. But I thought, we bounced back emotionally. We bounced back with the way we played and had some really efficient offensive performances tonight and some really good defensive performances too. That Jai kid is a really talented player, averaging 18 points. He had 13, but he got it on 18 shots. So I thought Javon Hadley was terrific on him, and various Luke had him a couple times as well. I thought those two guys played really good defensive games for us.
Head coach Tad Boyle after the Buffs get the 26-point win over Pepperdine. We continue with point guard KJ Simpson. I would have to imagine playing your position. You kind of right before we heard from Tad, you were talking about all the weapons on this team. That's got to be fun when you come down to court and realize there are 4 of the guys out there, that, regardless of what the lineup is, that are capable of scoring. That makes your job easier, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Exactly. I mean, you come down the floor, I could give it to Eddie in the post or Javon in the post. I could give it to Tristan, let him make a play. I could give it to Cody, let him make a play. Like, that's the biggest thing I think this team has, real success in, when everybody's getting it going. And I feel like I take it upon myself, to make sure I get them going early and to just make sure they're playing well and staying positive, things like that. But when you have multiple pieces out there, it's hard to lose.
Yeah. I don't know, when Ted and I have talked, though, one thing I know he's on to you guys about is I think it's every game this season, the opposition shot a higher percentage in the second half than the first half. So he's looking for you guys to have a complete 40-minute game, correct?
Yes. I mean, the stats show, although we may come out with the win, a lot of our games, we come out in the second half and the team plays better and they shoot better from the field and we give up more threes. Just our turnovers are a little bit higher. Like, things like that, small things that we could lock in on and kind of focus on will help us, walk away with the win.
This is a big week now. The Buffaloes go on the road. They're going to be at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York next week. You've got a team that was in the Final Four a year ago. You've got a team that's ranked number 8 in the country. This is a great challenge now. Talk about that getting ready for that and then playing that ball game coming up this week.
I mean, we have a week to prepare, so there's no excuses, going to go in and understand the opportunity that's at stake for us, but understand also at the same time we just have to play. It's just another team, although they have a lot of success, like you said, last year's team, well experienced, great coach, great players. We just have to go in and focus on the things that we need to do on our end and practice real hard and just make sure when we be ready for that game.
Overall, you think this is the most talented team you played on?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've watched a couple of their games. Obviously, they've been on TV a lot, but they have a lot of weapons, a lot of pieces. They run their offense really well. It'll be a great challenge for us.
All right, and the Buffs will be up to it. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, KJ Simpson, the Buffaloes get the lopsided win over Pepperdine on the road this weekend against Miami. 3, 2, 1. On the road this weekend against Miami in New York. Coming up next in the Stampede, we're going to talk with assistant coach Bill Greer. Way down, diagonal pass up top to Silva for 3, right between the eyes from downtown. Tristan De Silva is 13 of 20 from outside the arc in this building. Tristan Silva with a nice ball game as the Buffaloes win heavily as they take care of the Pepperdine Waves here at the Event Center. Back in the Buffalo Stampede, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, assistant coach Bill Greer joining us. You're kind of familiar with that Pepperdine program. You've coached a lot against them over the years, haven't you?
I've played them over 50 times in my career, being in that conference for so long. But you talk about Tristan, boy, he's like a pitcher in the 9th inning. Nobody talked to him. He's got a perfect game going.
Goes 5 of 5 from the field, 10 of 10 from the foul line, 2 of 2 from downtown. We've talked with Tad about the home and away numbers for this team overall, but Tristan right now has really got startling home and away numbers, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, you always have a little bit more comfort as a shooter in your home facility, but, I've done this a long time. I don't know if I've ever seen a guy take 5 shots to score 22 points.
That's pretty efficient.
It's off the charts. I mean, it was impressive.
Yeah, he can be a very efficient player at times. Overall, this was a nice bounce back, though, for the Buffaloes.
Yeah, it certainly was, especially the way we defended in the first half. We still haven't really put 2 full halves together, a whole game defensively, but, we didn't guard up to our ability on the road at Colorado State, so it was good to see our guys play at the energy and did a great job, and I can't pronounce his name correctly, Ajayi,
that was good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. They did a great job on him. He was just the opposite of Tristan. He had 13 points on 18 shots, but that was our guys doing a really, really good job on him, and they're a very good offensive team. I thought we did a great job in the first half.
We've learned about the Buffaloes now here in 8 games. This can be a very good, efficient offensive basketball team, correct?
It can. I think where we've been really good is when we've been moving the ball and sharing it. Our number of assists per baskets, we're in the top 10, I think, in the country right now with that. So as long as we continue to do that, we can be very efficient offensively.
Buffaloes get the lopsided win over Pepperdine, and afterward we heard from Tristan De Silva and Cody Williams.
Yeah, most definitely. Just kind of, you know, see unselfishness. I think we had like 22 assists this game. Just kind of coming out there, moving the ball, playing team defense, you know, getting back to Colorado basketball. I feel like it's just the best feeling.
I feel like just playing confident out there, knowing what we're doing, trusting each other. You know, I don't really know what the difference is between playing at home and playing away, but it's just something about the event center. We just share the ball and we trust each other and make plays for each other. Yeah, that's something we've been talking about. You know, our consistency. You know, that was a issue last year. We're trying to get back to playing consistent basketball for 2 halves, putting 2 halves together. You know, it's easier said than done. That's what we're working on, yeah.
Yeah, it just feels way better just because, you know, the more games you play, the more time you spend out there, the more you learn about your teammates, their capabilities, their tendencies, so you can get them open shots. And, you know, when they're hitting, it opens up stuff for me as well. And, you know, just that team basketball has really let me get comfortable. I've learned what spots I can be effective in, you know, cutting, offensive rebound, when to attack, you know, when to kick out. So I think just playing games and playing with my team and having that experience has kind of, you know, allowed me to see where I can be effective.
There's Cody Williams and Tristan DeSilva after the Buffaloes knockout Pepperdine, improving to 6-2. We continue with assistant coach Bill Greer. Cody's really coming along. The last 5 ball games, I think he's averaged about 18 or 19 a game. Bill, is that just the comfort level of him getting used to playing this level, or are you guys been encouraging him to be more aggressive?
I think a little of both. You know, I think he gets more and more comfortable each game, the more game time he gets under his belt, and he's become more aggressive, you know, and I think early he was trying to fit in so much, and now he's starting to figure out, okay, I can attack here, and he just has a greater comfort level out there on the floor. You can just see it in the way he carries himself.
You know, there's 2 guys in this roster. One we just talked to a moment ago, KJ Simpson, can break guys down and get his shot. Yeah. Cody becomes a second guy that can create late in the shot clock, right?
Yeah, well, you saw it, you know, up in Fort Collins, the 21 he had in the second half. He was really aggressive, getting to the rim and scoring at rim level, and he's got tremendous speed for as long as he is. He's got a tremendous first step, and he can get by guys. And then he gets in the lane. He's got good length. So, you know, it's great to see him grow and how much more aggressive he's become at the offensive end of the floor.
I mentioned we just talked to KJ. He's really playing some efficient basketball right now as well.
He is. KJ's thus far has had a really terrific year, and I think he's really taken on some things that he was challenged with to become a more effective playmaker and a more efficient scorer. And I think he's doing both. You look at his numbers, you know, what he's shooting from the field, what he's shooting from 3, shooting over 90 at the line, but he's also, his assist-to-turnover ratio right now is really, really good. And that's what you have to be as a point guard.
Buffaloes will take a few days off now. Their next game is in Brooklyn, New York, at the Barclays Center next Sunday against a top 10 team at number 8, Miami. Great challenge coming up this weekend.
Great challenge and a great opportunity for us to play against a team that, you know, was in the Final Four last year. Really good program. So we need to make the most of this opportunity.
Yep, good one. That's Bill Greer, assistant coach for the Buffaloes. They get the lopsided win over Pepperdine. As we wrap up this week's Buffalo Stampede, I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.